Welcome to the Leverage Show. This is Brett Ingram. Today, I want to talk to you about the difference between outsourcing and outtasking. Now, if you don't outsource anything, if you don't outtask anything, so you think, oh, well, this doesn't really apply to me, pay attention for a minute, because here's the thing. Whether or not you're using actual outsourced employees or outsourced labor, or whether you have a staff or helpers or assistants or whatever, the process and what we're going to talk about is exactly the same. And it's vitally important for every single entrepreneur and business owner because it makes a huge difference in your ultimate results of your business. And we'll get to that in a minute. So first, let's talk about what we mean by outsourcing versus outtasking. Okay, so a lot of times what happens is you identify a need. You know that you need additional help because you can't do everything yourself. Now, you might be starting off by doing everything yourself and then you realize it, or you may be overwhelmed right away, or you might just be smart enough to recognize that, hey, there's no way I'm going to be able to do everything about my business myself. So I've got to get help right off the bat. Excellent. That's a great attitude to have, and it's a great approach and a great realization because it's 100% absolutely true. I mean, unless you're just trying to scrape by and kind of maintain on what you can do on your own, you're ultimately going to need help in some fashion or another. So that's the first step. Now, what happens a lot of times is whether we hire an employee or whether we outsource to, somebody who's remote to do some work for us, a lot of times what ends up happening is it's the sort of low-hanging fruit, the sort of grunt work that we don't want to do, and we recognize that, there's really no way we can do this right now, so we need additional help. The challenge and the potential pitfall here is that what we do sometimes is we don't have a clear idea of what this person is going to do going forward. So if you're outsourcing a particular project sort of task, and that's going to be the end of it, then that's fine. Define what you want the person to do, and then post the job or get somebody to help you with it, and you're good to go. However, if it's an ongoing thing, and this is really where it matters the most, because there are aspects of your business that are ongoing things that need to be done, but they suck a lot of your time. And so those are things, if they're not in your core discipline, if they're not the thing that separates you from the competition, those are things that you want to offload. But the mistake that people make is they outtask instead of outsourcing. So outtasking is, okay, I've got this immediate need and I know I need somebody to do this. So I hire somebody, an outsourcer, and then I just start giving them random tasks to do. Okay, well today I've got to answer these 5 emails to respond to these customers. Here, Joe Outsourcer, go ahead and do this. Or, okay, now, today, I've got to type up these notes from this meeting. Okay, Jane Outsourcer, go ahead and type these things up. Now, there's nothing wrong with that on the surface because you are using leverage. You are getting other stuff done. The problem with it is it's not something that's duplicatable or repeatable. And that person is going to constantly need training about each individual task that you want them to do because the tasks are going to vary each and every single day. And while you could give those things away if you have like a personal assistant, the smarter way to go about it is to actually outsource. And when you outsource instead of outtasking, what you do is you start by defining what exactly you need done. And you do this before you ever hire anybody, before you hire an employee, just like you'd create their job description. You do the same thing for an outsourcer. Sometimes people fall into the trap because they feel like it's not a real employee. I don't really need to worry that much because I can fire them anytime I want. If I don't give them any work, I'm only paying for the hours that I'm going to be using. But you have to understand too that have respect for the outsourcer. If you expect them to do a great job for you and work hard for you, you've got to give them work to do. If you hire a great outsourcer and you don't keep them busy with the amount of work you promise them, they're going to take other jobs. And then they're going to get less and less responsive, or they're going to just up and quit on you or disappear. And the problem with that is that those are the good ones. The ones that have trouble finding other work will cling to you. They're not going anywhere. They're going to manufacture hours. They're going to take longer to get stuff done. So you're paying more for less, and you're not going to keep your good people. Just like it's the same is true as with employees, it's the same with outsourcers. You've got to treat your outsourcers well to keep the good ones wanting to work for you. And so if you define exactly what you want them to do, and you lay out all the different job description of the tasks that you want them to do, you want to start by focusing on anything that's repetitive, things that are in your business that you don't really want to do, and you really shouldn't be doing, because you need to drive the ship, right? You're the captain. So you need to make a list of all these things. Then that's step one. Some people get that far. Step two is to make a process for each of those things. Now, you could shoot a short little Camtasia video for this, which is a great way to do it if it's something that's difficult to explain in text, or you could just write out the steps. When I hire new support people, I have outsourced support for my customer support desk. And the way that I do it is I make a short little video with how to handle tickets, and then I create a document with the logins and the different aspects of things that they're going to need to be able to access. And so every time I add a new person, I literally can add a new person to the staff in one day, and I can get them up to speed in one day because I've defined this. If you think, well, I'll sort of teach them as I go, the problem that you're going to run into is that you're going to be duplicating a ton of work. Because first of all, you're going to be investing in an outsourcer who may or may not be with you long term. Again, as easy as it is for you to look at them and say, well, you know what, I'm not going to need you anymore. They can do the same thing. They can find a better job where they get paid more. They can oversubscribe to multiple jobs and then not be able to help you anymore. And so then you need to teach somebody else. You don't want your intellectual property and your processes in the minds of your outsourcer. You want them documented. You want them written down. Now, this will take you a few hours of time up front, but it will pay you back 1,000-fold because it allows your business to be scalable, and it allows you to backfill people really, really quickly. So any process that you've got going, that's what you want to do for it. So now you've got a job description with what you want the person to do, and you have a definition or a process with steps for each of those tasks. Now, no matter who does it for you, you're going to get very similar, consistent results, which is really important, especially for repeatable tasks that need to be done over and over and over again. Now, you can take it one step further and get really advanced with this. And what you could do is any outsourcer that you bring in, or employee for that matter, that you have them doing things that maybe the job morphs a little bit and they're doing something outside of what you originally had defined, fine. Have them, teach them the skill of documenting what they do so they can actually document the process. Let's say in the beginning, you're not doing any social media. And then you get this person who knows social media. So you say, okay, you know what? Set up social media accounts for our company on these 5 different services and manage those on a daily basis. Well, that's great. But if that person gets up and leaves, again, you're now stuck with these accounts that were started and you have no idea how to continue them. Instead, as soon as they get it going and they have a process for it, have them document that process. Have them shoot a Camtasia video. Have them write out a PDF document. Now you have all of these processes in your business. And the great thing about that is you could go on vacation for 2 weeks. And if you have somebody else manning the ship while you're gone, they're going to be able to hire people. They're going to be able to get them up to speed. They're going to know exactly how and why every single thing gets done in your business. And so that's what you want to do. You want to think longer term with your outsourcing and your delegation, whether it's employees or outsourcers. You don't want to spot task, because what ends up happening, I had a business years ago and I was really young. I was just out of college and I didn't really know what I was doing. And one of the problems that I had was I had 6 employees, and the employees would come to me for help. And I sort of got a charge out of that secretly, because it strokes your ego. They need you in order to know what to do, and so you show them how to do it and you help them through this problem and you help them. But what ends up happening is you create a bunch of people that are dependent upon you. They can't think for themselves. They can't do anything for themselves. So when you're not there, the whole thing shuts down. What I should have done, and what I realized after the fact, is you need to teach them how to do it, not just do it for them or give them the answer. Teach them how to create the answer. Teach them how to problem solve. Teach them how to get to where they need to be so they become self-sufficient. When you do that, the whole level of everything in your business rises, and so will your income and your profits, your productivity and your success. And so those are a couple of really important things to do when either delegating to employees or outsourcing any of the aspects of your business. As always, if you have any questions or comments, share them with me at levrigeshow.com or tweet them at #levrigeshow. And until next time, make it happen.